Creation's Journey to Life. Day 40. Thoughts create life. Watch the trap and the century of the self. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that a tree is not thinking, yet it is life and gives life, as we as humans cannot exist without it. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that animals do not think, yet they live. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that Earth and the universe are not created from thoughts, and yet they are what make life possible. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that a child is born without being able to think and only learn that through years of influence till an energy body is created as part of the physical. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that what is of real value, which is life, has nothing to do with thought. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that only the human's ability to lie and deceive is the unique dominion of thought, in which domain the self-interest of separation exists. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that creation of the human that spawned from thought always has an undercurrent of deception and self-interest. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that those that teach mind power and law of attraction do so not to support life, but to make money and serve abuse in favor of self-interest. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the world system that is a failed system was created by thoughts, while the physical world, which is a successful system, functions without thoughts or the mind. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that thought and the mind only creates illusion, and only that which is not real will value thought, opinion, and a free mind. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that thought as human personality is destroying that which is real as the true living beings. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that parents and the community infect children with the same disease as thought that destroys life without even understanding how thought functions, where it comes from, without regard for the devastation that this thought and disease causes. I commit myself to call on all living bodies to realize the disease of thought and to live themselves within living words as life with self-forgiveness and self-honesty. I commit myself to support those living bodies that with self-honesty take on the disease of thought till they are cured and are life eternal. I commit myself to present solutions that will support life and expose thought for the disease it is. I commit myself to show how money has become a tool of thought, vested in deception, dishonesty, greed, and as a weapon with which to kill life. I commit myself to show that thought is a weapon of war, which manifests as competition, comparison, fear, hate, love, and all versions of energy for the sole purpose of the self-interest of thoughts and survival, no matter what the result for real life. I commit myself to show that the soul is a vehicle created by thought that always remains subject to energy, as thoughts are a body of energy, which feeds like a parasite on living matter till all matter is consumed. I commit myself to knock on the door of those trapped in the deception of thought till they wake up and redeem themselves. I commit myself to remind all thinkers that thought do not continue after death, and unless the abuse through thought as false God is stopped, the thinker will end. I commit myself to remind each thinker that you are aware that this message is true, and that you cannot trust thought, and therefore there will be no excuse and no forgiveness for those that continue abuse.